to discuss about the top 50, 55 topics that you have to concentrate, where you will get 85% of 85 questions exactly from these topics. Okay, so if you are not, this is not to discourage you, just to see where you have to concentrate and where you have to focus more, because the number of questions where it gets more, that is where you have to concentrate more and revise it again and again. But before that, I just wanted to give you this 50 top areas where you can get 85 questions, because it has been asked for past 10 to 12 years, and this is the short topics that are asked every single year. Now, when you see the past trends, okay, 12 years of trends in the UPSC, when you analyze the previous year's question papers, the environment and ecology part, okay, and also geography, because these three are interlinked and overlapped. Okay, this part alone covers 25 to 30 questions every single year. Okay, polity, it covers 20 questions. History, it covers 20 questions, including the art and culture, the ancient, modern, and medieval India. And then you have economy, okay, which covers around 15 to 20 questions. So when you total this, there is around 85 questions asked in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you have, I have compressed into 4 topics because they are overlapping. So these 4 topics are the most important one, which will fetch you 85 questions. Okay. Others, if you see, science and tech, there will be 10 to 12 questions. International relation, 5 questions. And previously in 2021, there were around 3 questions asked. Okay, so these are the breakups or the trend or the pattern that UPSC follows every single year. Okay, so it is, as I told you, it is not about studies. Okay, it is 90% what your mind, it's all your mind games, and there is 10% of your studies. So make sure you follow this trend analysis. I have given you how you have to read each and every topic, but let me give you the other things that you have to. So when you come to polity, okay, these are the 10 areas where every single year questions has been asked. The preamble, okay, the preamble, the formation of the constitution, where is the preamble taken, whatever the Union, Soviet, Socialist Republic, like that, there is a preamble which we have, the first page of any NCERT books you will have. So you have to follow this preamble every year. There is one question related in and around preambles. Then you have fundamental duties, fundamental rights, like SCs, STs, and what are the fundamental duties that are being followed that can be followed by a citizen. And this has to be focused based on the articles that has been given. Okay, I'm not giving you the detailed articles, but these are the overall topics that you have to cover. Okay, fundamental rights and fundamental duties. DPSP, without DPSP, there is no question. Adhura reh jayega prelims ka. Okay, so without DPSP, there is no prelims question paper. And then, president and the governor, either one, they will have, because these are the head of India, president and the governor. Okay, head of India and head of state. So without them, you have to write down their powers, their duties, their limitations. Okay, these are the areas that you have to cover wholly. Now, emergency, yes, when it comes to president's rule, when it comes to governor's rule, then yes, you have to focus on the emergency, article 352 to 360. And then there is no financial emergency till now in India, so that emergency is not there. This is national emergency, and when it was implemented, what are the rights, what are the rights of a president on that, what he can do, and everything you have to cover here. Next one is the Panchayati Raj. Panchayati Raj, yes, it is very, very important, and every year the question is asked in Panchayati Raj. Parliament and state legislature, federalism, yes, definitely. Judiciary, Supreme Court, High Court, their duties, their powers, their responsibilities, their jurisdiction, everything. Constitutional bodies like, CAGs, Election Commission of India, UPSC, and all these things. You have to follow these two very, very closely. The CAG, Controller and Auditor General of India, and the Election Commission of India. This is very, very important, these two topics. Okay. Apart from that, there is non-constitutional body where Niti Aayog is very, very important. Fine. So these are the 10 or 11 topics every year UPSC is asking questions. Fine. So you have to be very, very thorough with this. The basic concepts, guys, the basic. And once you read these topics, it's more than enough for you to cover your prelims. Economy. Next big, portion of prelims is about economy. Now, when it comes to economy, banking and finance is the most important thing, like fiscal policy. What are the monetary policy? What are, CRR? What is the SLR? What is MPC? So these are the terminologies and what are the concepts behind that. You have to be very, very thorough. Okay, very, very clear. Read it very simple. It is given in NCERTs. Very, very simple language. Understand that. Don't get confused, because you will get confused only when you see the optional. But when you start reading, reading thoroughly what is the basics of these things, it is very, very helpful, and you will never get confused when it comes to NCERT. Okay, be very, very clear about that. Next one is the WTO, the IMF, the World Bank, and what are the big giants in finance, World Economic Forum. All these things you have to follow and see what is India's role in that. Okay. Next one is balance of payments. This is very, very important. If you see the Sri Lankan economy, what happened there, the balance of payment is very, it is not so adequate or so not so friendly. Their economy, there is an economic crisis there. India has never faced that, but you can always study from the Sri Lankan economy what is the reason why it happened, to get a base of what is the balance of payments. Okay. Next one is the government schemes that are being implemented when it comes to economy, like the digital currency and all these things when it comes to any schemes implemented by Government of India. Now, for that notes, Vision and Vajiram's notes are very, very perfect when it comes to government schemes. Okay, you can refer to their notes. It's very, very simple also. Next one is the sectors of economy and what are the trends, like the GDP, what is the inflation, what are the national income, what is deflation, what is the, everything you have to follow in this sectors of economy. What are the trends that is following? What is the percentage? Not exactly what is the data, but know about what is the basic interest or whatever rates that are applicable, and GDP percentage. You just have to know the basics. Okay. Next one is the geography wala part, where agriculture is the major topic. When it comes to agriculture, it covers economy and also geography. And in mains also, it covers both paper 1, paper 3. Okay. So GS paper 1 and paper 3. So agriculture, you cannot deny agriculture. Okay, now how many questions have come in agriculture? You can go and see the strategy followed in environment and also in geography. Okay, the question, how they have broken the question, what are the topics asked in agriculture, that you can go and refer there. Fine. So agriculture, it also includes economy and geography. So what are the financial things implemented by the government currently in the 5-year plans? What are the subsidies given? What is the minimum selling price of the basic crops that we go with? That is very important. And what are the agricultural patterns followed throughout India, where what crop is being laid? Millets, what are the types, where it is sown, where it is, which are the areas where it is more concentrated. So this you have to follow. Next one is the climate. Now, when it comes to climate, it is not about the climate change, not that, but here You have to concentrate on the longitude and the latitude. What are the basic equatorial climate, tropical, tundra, and all these things. The latitude and the longitude wala part. Then you have to go through the rivers and the lakes of India, and also maps. It is very, very important. As I told you, how to mark a map. When you're marking rivers, also mark the wildlife sanctuaries or the national parks, any lakes, which is very, very important, any glaciers in there, how much, what are the tributaries, as I told you, mark based on that. Okay, so map is very, very important. You will get around 3 to actually 4 questions in maps in geography. Next one is the soil. It's a type of soil. What are the type of vegetations, like black soil, red soil, desert? What are the different types of soils? What are the minerals available in that particular soil? Like black soil, what are the minerals? What in red soil? Why it is red? What is the mineral present there? These are the things that you have to note down. Okay, and the crops that can be laid, like in black soil, what are the crops that can be grown? In red soil, what are the crops that can be grown? Okay, and in the mountain regions, like the basmati rice, where it is getting. So all these things you have to note down. Very, very minute details in these topics. Okay. Next one is the vegetation. What are the, as I told you, the vegetation wala part, the equatorial, what are the types of crops, what are the forests available there, equatorial forests, what are the types of trees there are, tundras, and what are the pole area vegetation, and then tropical vegetation. So what are the types of trees available, special trees that are seasonal or anything. Okay, so vegetation you have to take care of. Minerals and industry. What are the different types of minerals? It is also asked in maps. Okay, map is also there in minerals, and also the industries that is connected with those things. Fine. And you can also mark ports. Fine. Next one is the ocean wala part. Now, oceanography, you don't have to cover the whole thing. You have to cover, the coral reefs. What are the reasons for its depletion? What are the initiative taken by the government to, improve the life of the corals? The minerals available in the deep water, deep sea. The temperature. What is the temperature? The ocean currents. What are the currents that are flowing, and salt level? Somewhere the salt level is more. When there is a mixture of, river water in the delta region, what is the salt ratio? Now, these are very basic thing. So, and there, when there is a delta area, there new life forms tend to create. So, what are the specialities over when the salt is less? And all these things you have to just have a basic idea. Now, when you don't, if you don't have enough material on that, follow this Murnal video. Okay, there is a wonderful video. I have seen this. I have seen that explaining different minerals. All these topics very, very beautifully. Okay, so if you want to revise it, go and watch that video. If you're not able to understand, watch that video and then come back and read your material. Fine. Next one, the exclusive economic zones. The major trade routes in the ocean, the Arctic route, the Pacific route. The Pacific rim. All these things. The cold current, the warm current, where it is flowing, and that day she also took the ocean currents wala El Nino, and how it forms, how the precipitation, it all happens. So this you have to follow. Okay. Next one is the hills and the mountains. When it comes to hills, you have to follow the Western Ghats. Okay, you have to mark this. The mountain ranges, yes, you have to mark from the Himalayas. What are the ranges, greater Himalayas, lesser Himalayas, and what are the ranges there? What are the mountains available? Many hilltops, what is very important in its species, in the wildlife sanctuaries, in any plant species, animal species, any extinctions, any endangered species that you have to mark in the hills and the mountain regions. Okay. So it also comes to Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Fine. So that you have to cover. Apart from that, there is environment and ecology, which is also combined with geography. Okay, it always overlaps. So any national and international organizations, laws, reports, indices that has been followed. Okay, when it comes to environment and ecology. And then climate change, Like you don't have to follow the Copenhagen wala and all these things, but what are the climate change conferences happening? What is India doing? That is it a participant or it is just a witness? Anything related to that, the organization that you have to cover. And then national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, wetlands, basically Ramsar. Okay, that is very, very important. Very, very important, the Ramsar sites. What are the recent Ramsar sites that has been included? I have seen some photos in the Digital Bureaucrats Hub. With the India map, it is really good. I think it's what was forwarded by Akshaya. So make use of that, because here they will ask with the mapping questions also. National parks, all these things. Next one, the new species, especially when it comes to Western Ghats. Okay, what are the new species available, plant species or animal species, and also Andaman Nicobar Islands. And one thing that the trend has been followed right from when I was writing prelims is that if there is any Andaman Nicobar in an option, in the 4 option, if there is Andaman and Nicobar, you go and mark Andaman Nicobar, close your eyes and mark, because that will be there. So go and mark Andaman Nicobar without any single thought. But when there is Western Ghats also in the optional, then you have to go for 50-50. Okay, these two are very, very important when it comes to new species. And if there is Western Ghats, no Andaman Nicobar in the option, go to the Western Ghats. But when both options are present, then you have to go use your mind a little bit. Okay. Next one is the Forest Survey Report 2021 that you have to follow along with, and then the pollution. Now, when it comes to pollution, there are primary pollutions, the secondary thing that are polluting. Or primary maybe, the noise pollution, air pollution, the traffics and all these things. What are the secondary level of pollution that are happening, and how it is affecting the food chain, the blue baby syndrome, and all these things that you have to cover in the topic of pollution. Okay. When it comes to history, ancient history, it's all about, there are a lot of questions throughout the years which has been asked in the terminology part. Okay, what are the god that has been worshipped? And in Harappa, Indus Valley civilization, what are the terminologies used for land? The upper citadel, the lower citadel, what is that? And all these things. Okay, the terminologies that you have to follow in ancient and medieval, because in medieval there are a lot of government officials there who are who have a distinct name. Okay, right from Sangam age, Cholas, and the Delhi Sultanates, the Mughals. So you have to follow the terminologies used for land measure, land reforms, all those things. Okay, the Mukhyas and all those things. Harappa and Indus Valley civilization, as you know, there are a lot of questions regarding the worships, the deities, what are the coins represents, what is this particular seal that has been discovered, all those things that you have to follow. Buddhism and Jainism, yes, because why we follow this Buddhism and Jainism? Because it was something very revolutionary that happened in the Vedic times, because people were so tired of the Vedic rituals that these two religion emerged and it became so it spread to all over India because of the disappointment that they had in the Vedic, because they had so many rituals, it was costly, and some people were dominating more on the other people. So because of that obsession, Buddhism and Jainism emerged. So that was a religious revolution that happened. So you have to study Buddhism and Jainism, on what era it emerged, why it became a hit at that point of time, and why it, Buddhism is not in India right now, it went, but it emerged in India. Jainism, at least it is existing. So what is the reason it perished? Okay, that you have to know, the basic idea. Okay, Jainism, and then Sangam and Chola. Now, when it comes to Sangam literature, it is all about Madurai. Chola is all about the Tanjore, the Rajaraja and all those periods. Now, Sangam, you don't specify who was the king, but at least Chola, you can specify the Rajaraja and Rajendra and Karigala Chola like that. Sangam, there are no kings specifically, but literature is very, very important. Okay, so what are the culture that is followed, administration, what are the economy they followed, what type of economy they had, this you have to follow. Also in the Maurya and Guptas. So when it comes to ancient India's, without Guptas and Mauryas, there is no ancient India, because those were the times when the state started following. You know, the country started to emerge within India, a state, a king, those, and these were the fellows who actually brought people under one roof, followed certain economy, administration, and followed certain culture and building temples, practices. So this is very, very important, the formation. See, anything that is revolutionary in nature, in history, has to be concentrated. Okay, so Maurya and Guptas are very, very important when it comes to culture, administration, and economy. Fine, and also the terminologies used on those times. Next one is the medieval, where there is Bhakti and Sufi movements, a lot of religion, religious activities started to happen, and you have to take care of this, the Nayanas and Sufis and a lot of things, Saivism and everything emerged during this Bhakti and Sufi movements. Apart from that, you have to follow the travelers. Who were the travelers at that point of time, from where they were, okay, and where they traveled, which country from they emerged, and what are their works, literary works, what they did, what did they noted on that particular time in terms of culture, in terms of administration, in terms of economy, what is the specific of that particular traveler, and when he traveled, okay, when, whose period. It is not exactly the date that history is asking, whose period, who was the king, who was the contemporary when he turned, when he was traveling. So all these things will be asked. Okay, so that is why I asked you to maintain this Excel file with the chronology, with the traveler, with the port, everything. If you have that Excel, if you maintain that Excel file, it will be very, very easy for you to understand. Next one, Vijayanagar. A lot of questions has been asked in Vijayanagar for the past 5 to 6 years. Concentrate on the Vijayanagar. What you have to concentrate? Same economy, not the kings and the whatever the kings, the titles, economy, what are the cultures that they follow, administrative reforms that they have made, apart from the previous ruler, that you have to do it. Anything specific, okay? Don't go one for very detailed one. Delhi Sultanate, yes, you have to concentrate. There are Alauddin Khilji, Firoz Shah, and there is also Tughlaq dynasty. You have to follow these kings and what are their works? What did they do? Okay, the cultural in terms of culture, in terms of administration and economy. See, these three things you have to follow when you are reading any particular ruler, okay, or any dynasty. Next one is the Mughal. There, very, very important is Akbar, okay, and then Jahangir, and then Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. These three are these four are very, very important. Okay. When it comes to modern India, you have to keep an account of chronology, as I told you, before the Queen's rule and after the Queen's. Okay, East India Company, and then after the Queen's. 1858, when the Queen's regime took place, and before 1858, the East India Company. Okay, so this you have to maintain a chronology before and after, and then in that, that is very important. You have to note down the modern personalities like the Rabindranath Tagore, who are the personalities that they asked. If you analyze the previous year's question paper, you will know Aurobindo, Jyotiba Phule, all these people. And what you have to note with them is what are the works that they did, whether it is a literary work, is it a cultural awakening or a society awakening, any organization they have been involved with, the Congress or the society, Hindu society, whatever it is, the society they are involved, and then any newspaper that they are involved. These three things that you have to focus, okay, in terms of the personalities. So make a list of personalities and note down these three things: their work, the organization, whether they are related to, and any press or newspaper they are related to. Next one is the governor generals and the viceroys, like the Lord Ripon, all these things. What specific things happened in those period of time? Say Purna Swaraj Declaration or non-cooperation movement. Which these important events, and who was the governor and viceroy in those period of time? Okay, so that is very important. Next one, the revolt and the movements, the peasant movements, the workers, those are the marginal people in the society, not the high class one. The middle and the lower class people, and what are the awakening that happened, like the peasant movements, the workers and all these things that you have to make note of it. Next one is the East India Company, that is for the British, and there are Portuguese, there are Dutches, there are French. So what are the other contemporaries other than the East India Company that you have to note down, and who are the major, what did they do, where did they rule, how did they came, okay, which route? These are all interrelated, so you have to concentrate on that. Next one is the culture, where you have to concentrate on the architecture, the Dravidian architecture. Okay, there are a lot of architectures, the Sun Temple, Konark, and the Rajaraja Temple, and what are the types of architecture, who built what monument, which area, which period, and what is the different things depicted there. Okay, so that is all about that. And classical songs, any dance that emerged. Okay, and then there is culture in World Heritage Site, the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the paintings, the Ajanta and the Ellora paintings, and what are the significance of them. Okay, that you have to do. Next one is the science and technology wala part. Now, when it comes to science and technology, basically it is divided after the fourth industrial revolution. Now, when it comes to fourth industrial revolution, you have to concentrate on the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, big data. Now there is metaverse. So all these things you have to concentrate the basic working of these things. And from 2020, basic science has gained more popular in terms of prelims examination. So you have to learn the basic fundamental science. Okay. Apart from that, you have to concentrate on the microorganisms like the bacteria, the virus, after this COVID, what are the virus, how it is a deviant, the upgrade of the virus, what are the vaccines developed, biotechnology that you have to do, nanotechnology that you have to read. Okay, just make aware of these things. Next one is the Nobel Prize that they ask question because of the medicine, physics, chemistry, and also literature and peace, Nobel Peace Prize. So these are the 5 things that you have to learn, okay, in terms of 2020 and 2021. Okay, and then when it comes to space technology and defense technology, you have to concentrate on what are the recent missiles, ballistic, strategic, and all these you have to learn. I have given you some topics in the space technology also in the revision topics. Okay, follow that. And when it comes to space, you have to follow NASA, ISRO, and European Space Agency. Okay, these 3 things are very, very important. And then terminology that are being used in the defense, like Vikram, what is Trishul, and all these things. Any scientific by DRDO, ISRO, these are things that you have to follow. Now, when there is when it is in news for a very longer period of time, then you can concentrate on those topics. If it is just coming and going, don't bother about those newses. But when it is there in the longer period of time, then you have to read that particular topic. Okay. Next one is the miscellaneous topics and the international relation, where there are 5 to 8 questions asked every single year. When it comes to international relation, it is all about the organizations, the conferences, the summits, and the reports that that emerge in that conference. Okay. Now there are certain that an organization or conference where India is participating, and there are certain conferences or summits where India is just a witness. So you have to differentiate between where India is witnessing, allowed us to witness the action, and where it is participating. These are the two different things that you have to note down. Okay. So now you can note down APEC, ASEAN, SAARC, European Union, RCEP, BRIC. Okay. So what is the role of India, whether it is a participant or is just a witness, you have to know that. Okay. And what are the reports published by them? Next one is the sports. There were 3 questions last year. And whatever sports India is concentrating, like hockey, kabaddi, those are the major area where India is there, and the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games where India is participating. Then you have to read that news. Okay, don't leave that. If you are really interested in sports, or if you're a sports person, then you can easily score 3 into 2, 6 marks. Okay, so these are the areas which you have to concentrate highly to clear your prelims. These are just 55 areas. I know these are overall just, but when you start reading, you have to have this material and you have to start collecting. Now, those who are writing 2022 prelims, note down what you have already done and concentrate on that. What you have not done, don't bother about it. Okay, don't get this fear and anxiety that you have not read. It's okay, it's perfectly fine. Whatever topics you have read it here, mark it and then start revising those topics again and again. And those topics that you have not read, it is okay. Okay, just leave it. Be very, very specific of whatever topic you know. Whatever you don't know, leave it. This is not the right time.